Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Energy Show. And our topic today is man
Ooh.
versus woman.
Yay! Team man.
Team woman.
Let's
But
do this.
let's do this from the energy perspective. Let's go.
Welcome to the Energy Show. Here we discuss the energy solutions to the problems of the modern age. It's all about emotional well-being. It's all about energy. And our happiness matters.
What a fantastic topic.
Isn't it? Well, my name is Alex Kent.
Yes, and you are?
I am the CEO of the Guild of Energists
No, I was going
and
to wait
author of
for
some fantastic books.
I am a man.
And I also have the wonderful ability of calling myself a man.
I am Silvia Hartman, the creator of modern energy, and I am a woman.
Should we be censored, Sylvia, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. So, yeah. Well, I thought, well, this is such an enormous ball of worms, such an enormous Gordian knot. I'm hoping that we're going to take the sword of Alexander the Great today and just cut straight through the middle and watch all those worms wriggle away, and beautiful clarity and success will ensue as we talk about man versus woman from the energy perspective.
And where would you like to start this week, Sylvia?
Well, I would start with the thing that we don't talk about. We are so lucky. We are so lucky. We don't know how lucky we are. It's because we don't have to go into this all this kerfuffle today about the physical differences between men and women and whether they exist or not, or whether they contribute to something or whether they don't. Whether or not being a man or a woman is something that we're just indoctrinated with at birth. And other than that, it doesn't mean anything. We don't have to think about any of those things. We can start considering this from the point of view of are men and women's energy bodies different?
Now that is an interesting thing, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
I would posit that they are, Sylvia. How about you?
Well, we don't know, do we? We can't see them. We can't measure them with the current technology. There's all sorts of problems with that sort of thing. But is there such a thing as male or female energy? That might be a starting point. Is there such a thing at all?
Well, that's a good question, and I think from my personal experience in this living in this world for as many years as I have, that there certainly is this idea of the wonders the wonders of us all not being the same. Uh, I love our differences. I love the variety. I love the masculine energy. I love the feminine energy. And I think this world would be so boring, wouldn't it, if we were just all had the same same no push, no pull, just the equilibrium of boredom. I think that'd be terrible. So so yeah, I am very happy that there is in my experience such a difference as male energies and female energies, and the interplay
Well,
between them is just yeah.
well,
Okay.
there's sort of so many different directions we could go in with that. One of the things that is sort of foundational to modern energy is that every energy body is truly unique. It starts out truly unique, much more unique than just your fingerprints or your DNA at the moment of conception. At the very moment of conception, this completely, not just the physical body comes into being, but the energy body comes into being at the moment of conception. And it's already unique at that point. but then it becomes more personalized, and it becomes personalized through the experiences of the mother while it's still in the womb. And then when it gets out, it has more experiences that keep personalizing the energy system more and more and more. So that by the time, I don't know, 35-year-old turns up at a Meridian doctor's, I have always said, throw away the old charts and maps, these lines that we're supposed to have, or these chakras that are stacked up like dinner plates. This may be some kind of a global idea, but the individual person sitting in front of you and wanting, say, energy healing, for example, they are totally unique. And so that's why we don't make maps of the energy system at all, and just ask people, where they feel what in their bodies, so they can show us what's going on with the energy system. And I find that really intriguing. And so from that standpoint, when I'm working with someone, I actually don't care if they're a man or a woman or what they are. They could be anything or anybody, because they have this unique individual energy system that they've built, that's happened to them, that's been the result of their experiences so far. And so I'm super excited to explore that. So
Yeah,
I'm
I think
really sort of
I
gender
agree,
neutral
Silvia.
with this sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I think what we're saying is that human beings are more similar than we are different overall.
Yes.
What unifies us is so much more than what is separate in between us.
Yes.
And this whole concept of labeling energy as being masculine or feminine, these are human constructed labels, of course.
Yeah.
This concept of masculine energy and female energy doesn't exist in the wild apart from what each of us believes that to be the case. And you ask 10 people what that even means, you're probably going to get 10 different answers. Yet I think it's interesting to explore it's definitely interesting to explore the topic. One interesting thing I saw the other day was that when you take a subsection of children and you ask them what their favorite animals are, or what's your favorite beast or animal or thing that isn't human, like often the girls would say rabbits and I'm trying to think of another thing, rabbits, and my other daughter really likes cows and horses and ponies, and then a subsection of boys might say dinosaurs and tigers and lions. And it does seem that girls prefer, when asked, to choose a prey animal, and it does seem that boys, when asked, seem to choose some kind of predator. And it's interesting to think whether that's nature or nurture.
I have a wonderful little story. I wish I could show you the video, but I can't. It's two little children, a boy and a girl, being given a sparkler at a party. And this is not an experiment or anything, that just happened, and somebody captured it on a mobile phone camera. The little girl is holding her sparkler and she's going, "Oh, look at that, sparklies." And at that exact moment, the little boy is running through the picture, screaming at the top of his voice, "Someone gave me fire!"
Oh dear. I appreciate that's a sample size of 2. The whole representative of the entire children
No, of
ever
course
been
not.
born in this
But
world.
it was so awesome. I thought that was just so funny, and so I would say, okay, so I would say that male and female energy bodies are different. Yes, they are. The maps that we have of the energy bodies are all based on male energy systems, because the only people who made the ancient maps were monks, and those monks were all male. And not only did they not bother about female energy systems, they didn't know all about them. So
Interesting, isn't it? That's
yeah,
that's
this
the
is
same, Sylvia. Like we were talking in previous episodes, where it turns out that most psychology experiments are actually conducted on highly educated psychology students,
yeah,
and they're mostly in America.
yeah, right.
I've discovered this is actually called a weird experiment. I can't remember what the weird acronym stands for. I have to look it up. But it's interesting, isn't it, when you
Yeah,
when you
the
when you
entire
when you
body
dive
of
deep into the results.
the entire body of ancient knowledge on meridians and energy systems is all based on monks. So it's astonishing, really. But yeah, so my general idea of what men and women should be, right, is they sh- they should work together. They have different energy systems that are supposed to be working together and making more than the sum of their parts. So the idea, I think, of human beings is that we are supposed to be working together, not one dominating the other or the other dominating the one, but that they're supposed to work together somehow and complement each other somehow. And so that's my theory of how men and women should relate, that they should kind of use the other to provide them with additional resources. Oh, can I tell the story about the jar of pickles?
I think we would all be feeling wanting if we did not hear the story of the giant pickles.
So I have a little game that I've been playing for a long, long time. I was brought up in a pub. And one day, a little aspect of mine, perhaps 5 or 6 years old, was supposed to get some pickles out of a jar, but she couldn't open the lid. Everybody was too busy, and she came up with the idea of going out into the pub where all the men were drinking, holding up the jar and saying, "Could somebody open this for me?" And the reaction of the men in the bar was like instant. They were super excited by this idea of coming to the rescue, and they were like fighting over who would open the jar for the little aspect.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So as I remembered this, so when I got into a relationship, got married, I kept playing that game. Now I can open a pickle jar as best as the next man. I'm a sort of a sturdy lass, right? But I always played that game with my partner of saying, when I had a pickle jar, I said, "Oh, you're so big and strong. Would you open this for me? Because I can't, because I'm so small and weak and fragile." And the partner in question would always laugh and take the jar and then open it. And then I would say, "Oh, wow, you're so strong." And then we'd both have a laugh and go on our merry ways. And I've been doing that for years. And just because I knew it was fun, it was enjoyable, it was fun, right?
Yeah.
And so the other day I did that again with my current partner. But something interesting happened on that occasion. As he opened the lid of the pickle jar, which was really quite tight, and I would have had to, I would have to use a knife or something to lever it up or something to get it open, because I really couldn't get it open on this occasion. As he undid that, I had this sense of that his power was actually my power. That I had gained this strength to open the pickle jar because I know him and he'll open pickle jars for me. That he was an extension of me in that moment. Not another person doing me a favor, but an extension of me. And that blew my mind, because I thought, wow, I've never thought of other people like that. I've never thought of people who work for me as an extension of me. I've never thought of a partner or a husband as being like, the picture that I'm getting is, these mechno suits, these mechno suits that people wear in science fiction movies. They get inside of this giant robot and they got their little levers, and then all of a sudden they're super powerful and they have all this extra strength like that. And I thought, wow, imagine we would find a way to relate to one another where my superpowers become his superpowers in the same
Well,
way as this his strength became my strength in that moment. And that really made me kind of really question the whole way of how we run relationships between men and women in that way, or partners, same-sex partners, whatever. But with our partners that we couple bubble with, that we work with, is there a different way, I'm wondering, to relate to one another that would empower us more?
Well, I'd say there's some interesting things to say about that. I used to have a psychologically fascinating girlfriend, and she was an attractive, beautiful lady. And she said to me, she said, when I was in my 20s, I used to do everything for myself. And I used to get some kind of satisfaction and enjoyment of looking at my work and productivity at the end of the day and thinking, I did that myself. Wow, what a strong, independent woman I am. And then as I got a little bit older, she went on, I realized how many men were just circling around me, orbiting me. And I realized that if I was just to ask them to do all my chores, like painting the house, assembling the flat pack furniture, doing this, doing that, maybe doing an errand in town, or picking this up from the dry cleaners, or all these, or taxi services here, there, and everywhere. And I realized they would be so happy. I would give them attention and they would do their very best to give me what I want to make my day easier. Now,
this is the same as a pickle jar, isn't it, really?
It really is. Yet I cannot argue with the logic, yet somehow I found that as being a very demeaning way of dealing with all your suitors. Yet it makes so much sense that it made me realize, oh my goodness, I do not want to be an orbiter. I want to be a meteorite.
Well, I mean, there's not a damn thing, Alex. There is not a damn thing that human beings can't do and pervert into some kind of misery and negativity, is there? I mean, there's just not a damn thing that human beings can't do something bad with. The essential thing of being able to ask for help, and then the person gives the help because they really enjoy that. There's something about it that they really enjoy that. And then getting the gratitude afterwards and everybody's happy. That's it's about, we're talking from the energy perspective here, that obviously you could abuse that. Obviously you could abuse that for your own personal gain, like holding out the possibility of a lovely couple bubble at the end of it with this person if you do this work for them. But that's not really what my experience was. My experience was because I was in a couple bubble with the gentleman in question, or am. It made it like it was me doing it, and it was fascinating. It was hugely empowering, rather than being some kind of Weasley thing. It was hugely empowering. It was wonderful. And I'm sorry that this lady also found this to be so, that people respond to that. Men particularly respond to that. But then women respond also to certain things. I'm now thinking of, we had a person all the way back in the dog training club who used to come in every week with a new horror story. Boyfriend had died, cat had died, house had gone on fire. And one day I saw her standing in a circle of people who were listening to her latest horror story, and she was grinning from one ear to the other as she's telling about how her boyfriend's head had exploded because he ran with a motorbike into a traffic sign. And I'm like, this
Oh
was
goodness.
an incredible moment for me to see that she
Mm,
was that they were giving her attention, and she
mm,
was enjoying this attention and ramping up the
mm,
gruesome details of the story in order to get even more attention. That was a
mm,
massive moment of oh my God, attention
mm,
is really important. You know, this is way before even the harmony program or anything like that. And I always remember that woman. So this
mm,
ability of giving attention, perhaps this is one of the things, the superpowers of the women
mm.
that really works in the normal, natural. We don't even know what a normal, natural interaction between men and women is. We have no
Mm.
idea. We've been through so much over the last million of years as human beings.
Well, I'm not saying if it's the right thing or the wrong thing, but the thought of relying on someone else to do your flat pack or come around and do your painting, or it's so personally beyond me. You know, to deal
But
with
then
the
that could
management
be
overhead.
just entrainment. I mean, the entrainment of
Mm,
how we were thought we were supposed to be as men and women. That just
yeah,
like
possibly.
one of the things that I always think about this entrainment is this ridiculous attitude to the color pink. Pink is for girls and blue is for boys.
Didn't used to
And
be that way, Silvia.
no, I know, but
Mm,
currently in the current society,
mm,
you really still have this. And I came across this when I was teaching art students.
mm,
And there were a number of men there, and they just wouldn't touch pink. They wouldn't put pink in their painting, even if the
mm,
damn sunset was pink, or it really called for pink because, I don't know, we're
yeah.
painting a pink thing, a pink flower or something. They'd be refusing to even paint a pink flower. Can I paint
Yeah,
any
I
other
do
color?
believe attitudes are changing, Sylvia, and I think attitudes are changing slowly. I think
Well,
within a
I'm
few generations.
what
Do you
I'm yeah,
remember the Simpsons episode where Homer Simpson
Homer. Yes,
accidentally wears a pink shirt to work to go to his
yes.
nuclear power station job?
Because Bart Simpson had left his red hat in the washing machine. Yes, I'm well familiar with that. But look, what I'm trying to say
Yes,
here,
and
what
he
I'm trying
always
to
wears
say
my
here,
"I'm not popular enough to be different."
what I'm trying to say is that um, when we work with the energy of pink and did some emo, where do you feel pink in your body? Oh, I don't feel it anywhere.
Hmm,
Big shield. Right. It's a little bit of the pink energy flow in, through and out. So
hmm,
these reversals against pink that the gentleman on my art course had were like just like weird energetic things. They weren't real, they weren't natural or normal. They were installations. I'd call them energy installations. And so
hmm,
the color thing is a really nice, simple example of that there are certain things that we are being trained societally to be thinking in a certain way about weird energy installations.
hmm.
But those really mess up our ability to know and understand how a real male energy system is going to be, a real female energy system is going to be. And just now I just thought, well, the answer to that is the +10, isn't it? There we are as close to the full expression of our energy system than we possibly can be.
Hmm. Possibly, Sylvia.
And
Possibly.
at +10,
'Cause
I don't think at +10, a man at +10 would just laugh at the idea that pink could somehow demasculate them. They'd laugh at
For
that.
some men, it will be that threshold shifting energy supercharger as they confidently stride out the closet in their pink shirt.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Because
Yeah.
it's at +10, you just don't care. I mean, that is
Mm,
so beneath you and so not in your
true.
thoughts. It's
What I
like
do
this.
disagree with you, Sylvia, about though, is to say that we are our +10 experience, which I believe we are the whole gamut of experience.
I'm not saying we are our plus. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yes. Like if we were just to cherry pick those very unique, very special, highly energy charged moments in our lives, and then categorized us as being them,
Yes.
I think that would not show the true human value of how we react to zero, and how we react to the working stage. And also when we go into that emergency energy systems around the -7 stage, people react, when often people say it's not the best of time that tests a person, it's the worst of times. And I do think there's a value in that. I think you it's like you have like, I don't know if it's just me, but you have this idea that if there was a terrorist attack happening in your village or your town, you'd be the hero. You'd be taking the narwhal tusk down from the ceremonial wall and running at the terrorist with this massive long pole, and then seeing your name in print next day. And that is what we think, but sometimes
Alex,
the reality can be quite different.
Alex, would you say that your average woman, if there was such a thing, would be thinking about narwhal tusks hanging on the wall and going to find the terrorists in the moment of crisis?
I know my ex-girlfriend would be looking at me, pointing out the narwhal tusk and telling me to get on with it. While simultaneously eyeing up the other men in the room that should probably move on to next after my horrible demise.
But, this is quite a fascinating thing, really. I agree with you that, but see, the +10 is the guide. It's the guide, and the challenge is to say, okay, if I was a +10, which in brackets I know what that feels like because I've been there, star matrix. If I was a +10, would I still feel threatened by pink?
And the answer is clearly not.
Yeah, right.
You have your mind on higher things at +10 than what you're afraid of. +10 gets through any kind of barrier.
Taking a very male attitude here. Pink, I'm going to kick them out of pink. I am powerful. I'm Zeus. Pink cannot stand against me. So for me, the +10 is really important as a role model. This was a problem that I came across
more of,
years ago, is that people were role modeling themselves, even physically, on people they were not and could never be. Like the classic example is Michael Jackson somehow physically wanting to transform himself into a white woman, Liz Taylor. And there's so many people trying to role model themselves on some star or a younger aspect even. Oh, I need to look again like I did when I was 20. And so this role modeling is, and I think people need role models. I think people need some kind of a guiding system that they can orientate by who I want to be. And I found that using the star matrix as this guiding system to say to yourself, okay, Alex in a really high energy state, what would they do? Not a younger Alex, not an older Alex, not some Alex that isn't even Alex, but somebody else altogether.
I would leave the narwhal tusk on the wall and wrestle the man down to the ground with my bare hands.
Yeah, well, we could also say that in that situation, a +10 Alex might have some really good idea that a lower state Alex would have never come up with.
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever it may be, a really good response. Yeah. But going back to the men versus women thing.
Yes.
Oh, I have another story. I once had a client, and this man told me conclusively, he was about, how old was he? About 50. He told me conclusively that women are completely incomprehensible, and he had completely given up on trying to understand them, trying to communicate with them, or even being around them. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. But he was very serious about that. He wasn't kidding. He wasn't trying to bait me or
and
fool
yet he
me.
came to see you, a female therapist. Maybe that man needed another man therapist. I think we spoke about that last week, didn't we?
Yes, I wish there were more male therapists, male energists out there. I really do. And I really, really do, just for the other men, so that they can talk to each other in a way with words and energies and stuff that they can understand. However, I have some, what do you call that? I have some really seriously long-term credits for working with men. I was brought up in a pub. I was surrounded by hundreds of men from the moment I could crawl, every day, all day, through my entire childhood. I must have talked to tens of thousands of men before I even got to the age of 16. I've seen men in every state of being, crying their eyes out because of what was going on at home, angry, happy, rational, completely delusional, drunk as nobody's business, very sober. I have enormous experience with men, even at from age 16 onward. And so I think I have a way of being that allows men to kind of look over the fact that I'm a woman, or just ignore it for a little moment, or just lay it aside just for 30 seconds, that they feel they can talk to me. And so this is probably why this gentleman, after all these years, decided to, it was about this client session wasn't about his relationship with women. He had a flying phobia. It just sort of came up, the fact that women are completely incomprehensible, and that he had given up many, many years ago, even trying to communicate with them or understand them. So I explained something to him briefly. Would you like to hear what I said to him?
I would, yes.
Right. I said to him, look, women, younger women, but also older women, they have these menstrual cycles. And what they do is they move them very profoundly up and down the modern energy chart, very quickly. And this is not something they can help themselves. It's sort of a hormonal thing. There's stress, and then there is, exaltation. The energy goes up and down, even more so in the menopause. Good God. It really does go up, fluctuate much, much more than with men who don't have this crazy hormone stuff going on all the time. And because of that, they inhabit different energy states. And the different energy states change their mind. For example, at -6, you might love chocolate, but at +3, you might hate it. And you could be in those two energy states within 2 minutes. So do you hate chocolate or do you love chocolate? I don't know. Right now I hate it. But that's because the different energy states change the person's grammar, the way they talk, the way they argue, the way they reason, the way they think, everything about a person. And women go up and down much more than men. So that what you need to do to understand women is you have to understand you're not dealing with one of them, you're dealing with 10 different women depending on their energy states. And so the learning curve is steep. You need to learn that woman, if you're going to marry her, your girlfriend, your wife, you need to learn the correlation between her energy states and everything else. What will drive her nuts in one state will make her happy in another. So you can't just say, if I've done something bad, I'll bring a bunch of flowers and that'll make everything all right. It will in certain energy states, in others it won't. And you just need to learn what state your wife/girlfriend is in order to unlock the mystery of women and see the logic in how women operate and behave. And that way you can, navigate conversations and relationships with women. And the man, who was an engineer of sorts, he was like, that is very interesting. Could I practice this with my mother? And I'm like, yeah, you could, definitely, yes.
Well, Silvia, what I find interesting is that your experience growing up in a pub, so that would be all the men that weren't at home with their wives, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that at that point, your experience is a sample size of the ones that are actively avoiding their wives because being in a pub is a more pleasant, happy experience.
Yes, that's correct.
Which is quite interesting.
Well, one of the things may I just say, one of the things I learned from that and made that, and I really recommend that to any relationship out there, is I've made it a business that not just for men in the family, but everyone in the family, for somebody coming home to not immediately assault them with all the problems of the day and all the screaming and shouting, but as the very first thing when they come in, to welcome them. Like you literally were a dog that's just happy to see them. And that as a foundational principle for long-term relationships, be that children, be that neighbors, be that anybody else that you're going to have long-term relationships with, do not throw shit at them the minute they walk through the door. Just be happy to see them, just like a dog would be when you come home from, from work.
I think
this is
people
my
should be
number
writing
one.
that down at home, Silvia. I think
This
that
is my
is
number.
the number one rules of cohabitation.
Yes,
Talking
it
about
is.
cohabitation, did you see that this interesting? So there's this question about whether we're meant to be living in monogamous relationships. You know, man, 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 woman, woman, man, woman, woman, or insert any random variety of your labels of each. Well, what was fascinating was they took this grave site in France that is thousands of years old, and they found all the bones and they DNA tested the bones, which is just an incredible advancement of the science that we have developed over the last 30, 40 years, that we can even do this. Because in that way, you can see what the family groups are. You can see how different villages, the genetic similarities, are people moving between villages, the position of the bones as well is obviously highly relevant, because you can work out family groups. You can work out who was the powerful chief, maybe, of the group, etc. How they worship their ancestors as well, and respect for the dead. And what they found was that the men in these little villages all around France, they tended to stay put, and it was the daughters that tend to move between groups, thus making a very nice variation in genetics and nice healthy babies being born from these groups. And they also found that monogamy was actually a thing even thousands of years ago. So a lot of people thought that were thinking that maybe this is something that came with the Judeo-Christian religion, essentially, that we couple up to make family groups, or we couple up as a pair because of the religion. But no, it predates that. This whole idea that you have two people working together has been going on for thousands of years. I can't say tens of thousands of years before that, but certainly for the last few thousand years.
Well, one of the most fascinating things, and in the current atmosphere, it's all this hatred and what's wrong with women and what's wrong with men and all that. What is even a woman? What is even a man? There's no such thing. All this madness swirling around. What we're not looking at is some of the really, what happens when two people fall in love. Not when they have drunken sex in a disco car park. That's not what I'm talking about here. In order to
that kind of love.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that that produces a child. Yes, it does. Often. Regularly. I'm not talking about
So we mean
that.
+10 love, Silvia, right?
No, I mean really, like when your entire world changes and that person becomes everything to you.
That
really
is
falling in
love.
love. Yeah, okay. +10 love. And on the odd occasion, that person has the same experience back with you. which is even more rare. But it happens on occasion, and then this really powerful couple bubble forms. And that relationship really is something else. And I would posit that this has also happened in the Stone Age villages you were describing, that there were people there that basically took one look at each other and spent the rest of their lives together, however long or short they may have been. So one of the things that I would like to put out into the ether in these troubling times is that this can happen. Stay alive and keep looking, and it might happen to you. Don't give up hope. You could be 80 and then find someone. It is real, it's possible, and it's the most wonderful thing. It's really truly the most wonderful thing. And
I have a tip, Silvia.
Oh, go on then.
So when this feeling of +10 love comes up, a common thing to do is it gets into that position of orbiting that person, the friend zone. This is something to be avoided. The best thing to do is honest, and actually be authentic to yourself. If you really love this person, obviously don't go because that won't be very good. But just make it clear what your intentions are. Be authentic to your true feelings, to your true self.
We need to mention the energy of attraction.
At that point, the other person will know for sure that this is a genuine person. They will see that you as being authentic, and then they will make a decision, which is once you are in that category of potential suitor, you can then drop down to being a bit more friendly, a bit more relaxed, a bit more chill. You will always be considered as a potential suitor at that point. If you think, I love this person, so what I'm planning to do is to offer to do all their groceries, shopping, take their bins out, all their flat pack, all their painting,
and try and creep closer,
clean their
somehow.
carpets, because
this doesn't
that's
work.
how you're gonna. That's how yes. So go in brave, go in bold, and if they tell you to just sling your hook, mate, then honestly, there's no time lost. People can spend years trying to, get out the friend zone. It's just such a waste of time. So be brave, be bold, and good luck is all I'd say to anyone that's in that position.
I would recommend, Alex wrote a book called The Energy of Attraction, which is about dating and mating from the energy perspective. And I strongly recommend that, especially to all the gentlemen out there, because it is obviously written from a gentleman's perspective. And it's a beautiful antidote to all the bad advice that you've been given in speed seduction and the sort of what those are called, the whole speed seduction people who are just trying to sleep with women and fool them and all the rest of it. This is really quite destructive to the long-term happiness of a gentleman who might think at the age 20 all he wants is to sleep with as many women as possible. But at the end of the day, when the cows come home to roost and all of that, everybody is really looking for the one that will give them that experience. And
can I just say, Silvia, that the book actually is not written for men. It's written on the idea that this takes two people to form a couple. You need the one that has the initial braveness, the confidence, the boldness to actually lay their cards on the line and just say what they want, say what they're interested in. And it takes the other person to be able to handle that incoming energy, assess what's going on, encourage it as well, not be a scary monster. Do not ever come close, kind of thing, And actually, both skills, both roles that we play in this couple bubble formation are skills that you can become better at. You can come better at being that person that other people approach, that other people feel confident enough to come over to you. You know, even if you're a man and you want to actually attract women to actually make the first step with you, it's the same skills. And
Yes,
it
is.
works as
Of course
well
it
with
is.
men and men, women and women. You need somebody to be the, hey, nice to meet you. It's very difficult for it to be two people. Hey, nice to meet you. It's at the same time. You need someone to take the initiative, and you need someone to give that other person a chance.
I love the idea. I love the idea of two people.
Second thing, Silvia. There are a subsection of men that some consider them to be at the top of the triangle. You know, these are the ones that put on their online dating profile, pilot and doctor. You know, 6'5", trust fund,
and American general, American general, retired.
These people that flip from one partner to a next, or have their harems and stuff, and never settle for one. They're, you know, the quintessential bad boy that reveals a nice soft tendency to themselves, and then wolves come up, and then they make the partner work to get that again. And you know, they're so nice in private, you know, when they're talking to their friends saying leave them. You know, these are the people that are at massively high suicide risk, I have to say. You know, it's the sad thing to do. It's a sad thing to say, but these are the people that there is a massive happiness and enjoyment that comes from life by working two people as a team, as high energy individuals, respect in between themselves, mutual respect of each other's skills, each other's energy, each other's talents, each other's ability. This is fundamental for happiness, I'd say. Yes, of course, there's the outliers that, you know, die single, very happy with a smile at their face, you know, flirting with all the nurses at the age of 19. Yes. But overall, yes, I think as human beings, as the French dig sites reveal, is that, you know, this is our core nature, is to be working as a team.
And we could talk for hours on this. We really could. And there's so many different avenues. First of all, I'd say buy Alex's book on the energy of attraction. It's really interesting, even if you are not a gentleman listening to this. So you might have male clients. As a therapist, you might have males in your family. It might be some interesting insights.
Silvia, women should buy this book too. Honestly, it's not just being about the person that makes.
I'm doing the Yorkie ad. I'm doing the Yorkie ad.
Job.
I'm doing the Yorkie ad.
No,
but anyway,
I'm saying both people. It's a skill. It's a skill.
Yes, of course,
it's a skill. I mean, when I was chatting to people that said, how, you know, asked them, how did you meet your husband? And they said to me, oh, this one lady told me that he thinks it was all him, but actually I worked out when his classes finished at school what classrooms he was in, and I always had to be walking past at the same time.
Just happened to be walking past at the same time. Very good.
So yes, and that's what my book is about. It's like identifying which role you that feels more comfortable with you, and then talking about skills, attitudes, energy for being the best at that role as you can be. So hopefully that clears that up, Silvia.
So what I would like to leave us with on this particular occasion is that just hating men or women because you have suffered at the hands of their representatives, or you don't like what they represent, or you don't like their energy, or for whatever reason. Don't have to give me a reason.
That's as dumb as hating the color pink, Silvia.
it is going to cause disturbances and disruptions in your energy system. It's going to keep you away from easily accessing higher energy states. It causes all sorts of stress in the energy system that you can reverse if you work on it. Remember, it's only energy. It's only energy. We only think we hate one or the other because of an energy reversal. It's unfashionable, but we can get over hate of things. We really can, if we can allow to just a bit of energy tapping. Just tap on the thing and notice how your emotions change, and realize that hatred's bad for you, love is good for you. Can we agree on this, Alex? Hatred
Yes.
is bad and love is good. Love empowers you, and it doesn't make you blind to their faults or the problems that that person or the group of people have. It just doesn't make you sick with anger anymore. And so from man versus woman, I would very much like to go to men and women finding out what the great creative order has designed for us. So when we actually really start to cooperate and not denigrate each other and one another, but really try and find which our strengths are and how we are supposed to put that together to become more than the sum of our parts. If we could figure that out, I believe we could unlock a whole new flourishing of science, of intellectuality, of understanding the world much better and living more harmoniously within that world. So that's a challenge that I put down for the future generations. Figure out this thing with how men and women's energy systems are supposed to combine, how that's supposed to work, and what happens when they do. Because that would be, I think, so healing for humanity. And what a thing for the children to observe and watch and view.
Well, it's not just man and woman, is it, Silvia? It's two people working with each other's differences in their energy to produce a couple bubble that is more than the sum of its parts.
Well, you have even in same-sex relationships people playing these roles. These not playing the roles, but assuming this partnership.
I
We
think
take
just
that
taking,
beyond and go to couple bubble exploration as well. General
just
couple bubble
complementing the parts that
exploration.
we're not.
Yes, and taking
Differences
that
attract.
over into the communication with other people that you are not in an intimate relationship with. Becoming much more open, and don't give up. Don't give up on trying to understand men. Don't give up trying to understand women. Let's presume that we are actually really logical designs, beautiful designs by the great creative order, and try and treat each other with a little bit more love. So I think that's a good place to end this energy show, don't you think?
On that happy note, Silvia, thanks so much for everyone that was watching today, and please do leave a comment on what are your views on man versus woman, and man working with woman, and woman working with man, and women with everybody working with everybody. Please do leave a comment.
Yes, and if you really do have a deep-seated feeling of hatred for anyone out there, I truly recommend to do a little bit of energy work, even if it's just a little bit of tapping, so you can take a deep breath and start thinking rationally again and take that massive stress of hating things out of your energy system so that you don't get sick.
Even think that you hate them. Maybe you don't think you hate them. Might be worth just doing that energy tapping anyway, and just seeing,
I think that'd
on
be
each
nice.
point, just think, how does what I think about that person change as I go through it? Yeah, that's what I reckon.
This can be our challenge this week. If you want to try, just tapping on man and woman on different days and noticing what happens when you do. regardless whether you're a man or a woman. There is so much that we don't know about ourselves and each other. It's veritably shocking, and I can't wait for there to be more discoveries in the years to come. So I'm going to thank you also very much for listening and being here with us. Please share, like, subscribe, do the YouTubey things for us, because I think that more people need to know about the modern age. Lots
Thanks,
of love.
everyone. Bye for now.